Hey there, Tiktakers! After collecting some of our best male happypastas, the female version couldn't be missing. Within the terror, blood, and destruction of creepypastas, a world where goodness exists appears. With Jenny Smile, Callie Williamson, Hope Doll, Spring, or the Happy Puppet. Enjoy their stories. Jeff woke up, dazed by a headache and a feeling of wetness. He didn't know how many hours he had been sleeping in that abandoned house, and last night's massacre left him exhausted. He sat up and realized that his face and the mattress were soaked in blood. But not in his blood, but in his victim's blood. How many was that? 3, 4 people? He only remembered how good he felt. He looked around, and among the garbage and destroyed furniture, he could distinguish his own bloody footprints. From then on, he had to be more careful. The police or anyone else could follow him and catch him off guard. Anyone like Jane, for instance. He had been aware of her desire to end him for a while now, and although he had been feeling her closer lately as if she was watching him, he wasn't afraid. Quite the opposite, something about that girl fascinated him. Her unrestrained urge to kill him and tear him apart really reminded him of himself. And right when he was thinking about her, he heard a noise in the house. Maybe they both had telepathy. Nah, maybe she just followed Jeff's footprints last night until reaching him. So Jeff grabbed his trusty knife next to the mattress and went to the ramshackle hallway. He advanced slowly with his sadistic smile, ready for a fight, when he heard the voice of a girl behind him. "I finally found you, and you're mine now." But her tone wasn't threatening, it seemed sweet. Jeff turned around and saw a strange girl with green eyes who was smiling with excitement. She was wearing very colorful clothes, and her cheeks, rosy out of embarrassment, stood out on her white skin. She also had an ear-to-ear smile just like Jeff, although it seemed to be clumsily painted. Jeff, puzzled, could only ask himself if those were lipstick marks. "Finding you was pretty hard, you know. I had to tap into the police radio to stay up to date about your deeds. I'm such a huge fan. Oh, and my name is Jenny, by the way." She hid her shy smile behind an album containing newspaper snippets about Jeff. "Now that we're finally together, nothing will ever separate us." For the very first time, Jeff felt true fear. Who was that psychopath? What did she want from him? She was so sweet and exuded so much tenderness, it sent chills down his spine. That's why it was especially bizarre when she opened the album and showed Jeff grim snippets of his crimes. "See, Jeff, I've been following your work for a long time and I love it. You're such an artist and you're also so cute." One more time, she covered her blushed face, embarrassed. Jeff felt the urge to run out of there as fast as possible. However, as soon as he turned around, he felt the coldness of a knife right inside his gut. Surprised, he raised his head and saw face to face an expressive mask of Jane the Killer, who took advantage of the situation to stab him. Stunned, Jeff stepped back to think about how to get out of that situation. But suddenly, Jenny dropped her album and her sweet smile turned into a bomb of rage about to explode. "How dare you touch my Jeff like that? You will pay for this!" Jane warned Jenny to step back and get out of there while Jeff just observed the scene while trying to look for his knife on the floor. "Shut up, you! This is none of your business!" Jeff froze when he heard the fury in Jenny's voice, who seemed to be so sweet before. Jenny realized and immediately changed her expression to the same cute smile as before. "Oh, I'm so sorry, honey, but you know, this is girl stuff. Leave it all to me and I'll be back with you soon, okay?" After saying that, Jenny once again looked at Jane with the same hateful and furious expression as before. In that moment, Jeff decided he had had enough of obsessive psychopath girls for one day and ran away from the house. Jane tried to go after him, but Jenny blocked her path and took out a beautiful ceramic knife with a kawaii cat at the grip. The two girls looked at each other like beasts about to plunge into each other. The last thing Jeff heard while getting out of the house was the sound of a knife cutting flesh and a female scream. Jenny's smile is a happy pasta, a kind of nemesis to Jane the killer. Unlike Jane, Jenny doesn't want to take revenge on Jeff, but is actually deeply in love with him. She loves Jeff so much that she tried to imitate his macabre smile, but since she didn't have the courage to cut herself, she just painted it with lipstick. However, Jeff just ignores her and is not interested in Jenny since she isn't a serial killer like him. Jenny has brown hair, green eyes, and uses lively multicolored clothes, usually shorts with suspenders or a pink dress over a striped shirt. However, looks can be deceiving since Jenny is what Japanese people call a yandere. She seems sweet and kind on the outside, but can become hostile and aggressive at any moment. She's capable of doing anything to defend her love, even killing. What do you think, Tiktakers? Who would win in a death battle? Jenny's smile or Jane the killer? Tiktakers, have you seen the video of the doll created by Slenderman? The truth is that it is terrifying, but we want to remove that feeling of fear from your body by telling you about its happy counterpart, Hope Doll. She is a Slenderman's right-hand woman, helping those who are totally desperate to find hope and a way forward. Her personality is affable. She cares a lot about the people she cares about, and although at first she seems shy, she immediately gains confidence. If she thinks you're a threat to her or to someone she loves, she will not hesitate to get aggressive. So, Tiktakers, make your good intentions clear at first. Her paws will not tremble to torment people who are harmful to others until they are eliminated. One of her best qualities is that she has a very good intuition to recognize dangers. This gives her an outstanding ability in tricky situations. Also, it is said that she usually gets a Slenderman out of trouble using reason. Despite being very good, she has a great desire for competition, which leads her to give her best in situations conducive to it. Physically, Hope Doll, like her counterpart, is a plastic doll. They replaced all her teeth with orthodontic implants to simulate a piranha. In addition, she has skills connected to her mouth, allowing her to breathe underwater like a fish. Her body has a very useful quality in case of a fight. She can replace any member or organ in just a few seconds. This makes her indestructible. In addition, her mood directly influences her height. If she's angry, she can reach 15 meters. However, if she's distressed or sad, she can go down to 14 centimeters. Her height, if she's relaxed or happy, is 1.70 meters. Among the powers the Slenderman allows her to use is the ability to cause people to hallucinate. She can only do it to encourage or punish, but it is an extraordinary power. On one occasion, she tricked an evil creature into thinking she was being attacked by an army of monsters, prompting her to surrender. In reality, she was only facing her, but her strategy allowed her to stay alive. Many times, she's represented with a violin. Hope is very fond of music and enjoys sharing it with others. She loves art in all its forms. She's constantly researching to discover new forms, including technological ones. This happy pasta is a creation of W.D. Scene, and at the moment it has not been revealed what her origin is or how she met Slenderman. But we are eager to know all the details. Did you like it? Leave us your impressions in the comments. Janice Miller's childhood was not easy. Her father fell into a deep depression and took refuge in alcohol. This caused her parents to make the difficult decision to separate. They had been very happy, but the situation was completely untenable. Despite everything, Janice loved her father very much, and often she tried in every way to make him smile. Her mother constantly told her to stop trying. She wanted to take her away from him. And that conversation was repeated one afternoon while she went to his house. Her mother told her that he was bitter, that she should leave him alone and not waste her time with him. But the girl insisted she didn't want to leave him alone because she knew that something bad would happen to him. That morning, Janice went to her father's house desperate to see him. But when she entered the dining room, she could only let out a cry of terror, a cry drowned out by anguish and fear. Her father, whom she loved dearly, was hanging from the fan with a rope around his neck. Her mother, hearing the little girl's screams, quickly ran to the other room and saw with her own eyes the terrible scene. She didn't hesitate for a second and called the police. While they didn't come, she hugged her daughter, who at only 6 years old had experienced something terrible. The authorities said it was a voluntary death, but Janice didn't buy it. She thought there was something else behind her father's death. This led her to, for years, investigate similar cases, collect newspapers related to the subject, and be attentive to any new leads. That situation, from when she was a girl until she became full woman. She was awarded a scholarship and graduated with a degree in psychology from a prestigious university. She received several awards for her work, so at 23, she was already practicing as a psychologist. She loved helping people, from people with depression to others who just wanted to get over their shyness. In addition, she gave talks to students to motivate them to find their way. And one afternoon, in the middle of her hectic routine, she received a visit from an old acquaintance. It was Mrs. Stevenson, a medium she had befriended in college. She warned her that she had something serious to tell her. They sat over a cup of coffee, and Stevenson told her that she had had a vision about her father. He hadn't killed himself. She told her that there was something else behind his death, something that was not earthly. A kind of vengeful entity that sought sadness and loneliness to feed and become strong. Then the medium was going to say the name of that creature, but she couldn't. She began to cough blatantly, and in a few seconds, she fell to the ground, dead. Janice went completely white and cold. She tried to stay on her feet, but that had been too strong. Suddenly, everything around her turned, and a strange breeze ran through the room. In a few seconds, she ended up lying on the ground, unconscious. Days later, already recovered, she learned the result of her friend's autopsy. She had died of suffocation. That didn't make any sense, so she began to investigate again, but she found practically nothing. A few days later, while she was on her way home, a man approached her near a park. He looked really bad, so Janice started running, but she couldn't escape. Police found the body a short time later and took it to the morgue. They had also arrested a suspect. But surprisingly, this was not the end for Janice. When she opened her eyes, she was in the living room of her house. She had the feeling that she was floating and her psyche had changed slightly. She went outside to explore everything. And while she was wandering, she found something in an alley that caught her attention. It was a man completely dressed in black, and from him came some golden threads that were attacking a woman. Seeing him, she knew. He was responsible for the death of her father and her friend. She had no doubts. Then anger took over her. She was not going to allow more people to die. Since then, she calls herself the Happy Puppet and uses her silver threads to help sad people. She's very kind to children and teenagers and tries to save all possible victims of the puppeteer. Hey there, Tiktakers! What did you think of our video about Callie Williams? You've been asking for it for so long that we've made up our minds. We also want to share with you the story of her happy counterpart, Callie Williamson. Many confuse them in appearance, but you creepypasta experts know that they're totally opposite. Callie's eyes are green and she wears yellow instead of pink, like her antagonist. As in most happy pastas, there are several versions of her origin. In the first one, it says that Callie was abandoned by her parents when she was only 6 months old. They left her in the middle of some cardboard boxes in an alley where no one passed. But life smiled at her, and that day, a man passed by. He took her to a foster home where they took care of her. She was there until a couple adopted her when she was 4 years old. Despite the fact that she was far behind children her age in many things, she was happy to know that she would finally have a family. She wanted to be treated with love, to be bought a toy, and to spend time with her, what any child would want. But it didn't go as well as she expected. Her new parents destroyed all her toys, and on the first day, she was beaten just for dirtying the carpet. That was the first of many fights that led, when she was 8 years old, to her death. Her adoptive parents threw her off a cliff. At the bottom of that cliff, she would be rescued by a Splendor Man, who would bring her back to life to help him. The other version says that a Splendor Man found her crying in the middle of the forest. Callie barely spoke, only managing to say her name. She was squeezing her stuffed chicken tightly. It was her only company. Seeing her so alone, he decided to take her to his mansion and take care of her. Since then, she helps him save good people and lives with a lot of little friends who, like her, had a really complicated life. She is especially interested in visiting lonely children who have no one else to play with and need her company. She sees herself reflected in them and feels good helping them. Among her most outstanding powers is invisibility. She's a ghost, so she has no body. This allows her to hide when she wants to, but be noticed when she needs to. She doesn't have an exaggerated intelligence due to all the traumas of her childhood, but she perfectly differentiates good from evil, which makes her very valuable in her work. Her conversations are like those of a very young child. She has no facility for words, but she's very curious, so with her little language, she asks everything she can. That immaturity also makes her naive and easy to fool. So, you know, Tiktakers, if you meet her, don't try to make fun of her. She's good and always tries to help others. Isn't that right, Callie? Today, we return to the world of creepypastas to tell you about Hoodie's happy counterpart, Spring. In addition, internet users place it, along with Carnival, as one of the proxies of a Splendor Man. Do you know it? Its origins go back to a costume party. There was a contest in her town, so she asked her father that she wanted to be a Splendor Man, who was her idol. Of course, her father wanted to please her and bought whatever he thought was necessary. But when the day came and she saw her costume, she was very upset. Her father had bought things that did not fit at all with the idea she had made for herself. So she finally decided not to go to the contest and stay at home. She was very sad, so much so that she kept crying for hours. That caused the Splendor Man to hear her, who, seeing the tremendous admiration the girl had for him, ran to her house. Once there, he gave her a big, consoling hug. She, who had been following his trail for years, did not miss the opportunity and begged him to let her be his assistant. He didn't have the heart to say no, so he agreed and welcomed her into his team. Very cheerful, she put on her costume, and since then she accompanies a Splendor Man helping people. Among her abilities, there is great flexibility, which helps her to sneak into unimaginable places or to adopt the strangest positions. Her physical appearance, as her name suggests, is very spring-like. She's believed to be around 1.6 meters tall and has long blonde hair. She's always dressed in different colors. The more imaginative believe that she is in love with her creepypasta counterpart, Hoodie. There is even an internet version that claims they managed to meet and have a child they named Dawn. Others say they met and she ended up in a bad way. This happy pasta was created by service drone Nee and was initially believed to be a boy. Nowadays, it has been assumed to be a girl, but as you know, that's the least of it, Tiktakers. The fact is that she goes out to fight for the good guys, and that fills us with pride. In relation to its origin, there is also another version. We have left it for the end because we assume the other one. In this one, we are told about a boy named Leo who lived with his parents and siblings. The parents wanted to turn the boys into murderers in order to collect money. Also, among other cruelties, they never taught Leo to speak. They thought it was not necessary, and he was not needed at all in the life they had planned for him. But Leo was good and had always refused to harm other people. So his parents punished him by forcing him to face his brother Jeremy in a life and death fight. Jeremy, who also had a good heart, sacrificed himself to save him. Leo then ran away from home and fled into the forest. There, Splendor Man found him and took him into his group. He's a shy boy with communication problems, but very cheerful. He always wears bright colors and loves flowers. What do you think, Tiktakers? Which version do you like best? Tell us in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!